Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Spotlight on Security Tech Insights. Consider this and the cloud. You're likely deploying a lot of different workloads across all locations, from on-prem to the cloud, at the edge. And so when it comes specifically to the cloud, reducing cloud risk to increase your cyber resilience is so important. On top of that, it's also critical to be able to recover and resume business operations in the event of a breach. My name is Theresa Miller. I'm the Director of Technical Advocacy here at Cohesity. And today I am joined by a very special guest. Oron, could you introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Oron Noah, and I'm the head of product extensibility and partnership here at Wiz, and I'm very happy to be here.
Well, thank you so much again for joining me today. I'm really excited to have you unpack this topic for us and our audience today. So let's dive in. Here's my first question for you, Oron. What is the most common and important risks that enterprises need to look for in the cloud?
So when you talk about cloud environment, there's so many different risks out there. Misconfiguration, for example, you have an asset, a cloud asset that is misconfigured and though is exposed. You have vulnerabilities. Some of them can be zero-day vulnerabilities. You can have identity problems. For example, these privileges are not being enforced, exposed secrets, data security like PII, PHI, and so on and so forth. But the problem is if you look in each one of those specific risks by itself, you are missing a context. If you have an exposed asset, it can be a VM, serverless, container. What does this mean? Do you need to all go ahead and patch it or misconfigure it? Or you have a vulnerability, do you need to patch it right away? You need to understand the broader context. For example, you want to understand if you have a publicly exposed VM that contain a zero-day vulnerability, and if it be compromised, basically it can lead to a crown jewel asset that has a PII information. This is when you want to focus and start patching first. Because if you have 30 minutes a day, for example, to proactively go and fix risk in your cloud environment, you want to start with the most critical risk out there. That's why context is very, very important.
Those are some really, really important considerations for our audience today. A couple things really stood out to me. So one, you talked about the fact that there could be misconfigurations within the environment, but by taking just 30 minutes a day, you may have the ability to still proactively respond to those risks. I think it's so important to be able to protect that information. So I appreciate you bringing those up. Now, another thought for our audience today, Oron, I have a question for you around workloads. What are some of the most common workloads that you're seeing teams try to secure in the cloud?
So basically, customer today, when it comes to their cloud journey, they have also multi-cloud strategy. Most of them are using more than just like one cloud vendor. So they want to secure everything. They want to secure all of their running assets in the cloud. It could be VM, serverless, container, but also they want to protect PaaS services. Infrastructure is a code, platform is a code, and they want to secure everything. For example, if they're using MongoDB as a service, this is something that they want to protect, but they also want to protect if they have a MongoDB running on a virtual VM or a container. So they want to see everything, even if they have AI model run in their cloud, whether they're using models that they train and they run on a specific Kubernetes container VMs, or they're using OpenAI or any AI services, for example, like Amazon SageMaker and etc. They want to see everything and they want to protect everything.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more. When you look at what's available from a cloud workload perspective and the adoption rate of those things, getting that protected is so important. But now, when I think about what it takes to protect those workloads, which teams in an organization need to work together to ensure that that cloud and the cloud information for the enterprise is protected?
Here at Wiz, we believe that in order to achieve cloud security basically needs to be a team sport across all of the companies. 20 years ago, the developers was less invest and involved in security aspect, and it was only just the CISO that is responsible for that. Today, we believe everyone needs to care. Your developer, your AI researcher, a DevSecOps, cloud security team, SOC team, incident response team, everyone needs to work together in order to achieve this goal and basically to have security by design. For example, if I'm a product manager and I want to define a new feature, I need to think about the security aspect while I'm thinking and defining the feature. If I am a developer, the same drill that I'm doing when I have my code review in place and an architecture review in place, I need to have my the security architecture review in the very early beginning of the process, not where a moment before I need to ship it to production. So everyone needs to work together in order to achieve security by design. And basically, one of the problem is like you need to reduce the noise, and also you need all the teams to understand what is the business impact. So if they're not doing that, why security by design can also help them protect and make their business running.
That is so true. And if I think even a little bit more beyond that, during an incident, I think that your SecOps team and your IT ops team should also be collaborating. So I love the fact that you were talking about by design, because that's foundational. But the SecOps team needs to definitely be able to integrate with that infrastructure team to respond. Let me give an example. So when I consider some of our tooling, like let's talk about like an anomaly. If I had an anomaly that I could then share with my SecOps team to have them do the review just to make sure that everything is okay, or that it's even not okay and they need to respond, I think there's a lot of value on that cross-functional alignment. So, Oron, let's go ahead and talk about some of the challenges that security teams are going through when trying to secure those cloud resources. What are your thoughts?
So the way we think about that here at Wiz is we separate that to three subjects. I think first of all, the first challenge is about visibility. You cannot protect what you cannot see. You need to have visibility across all of your different cloud environments to understand everything. Okay, I'll give you an example. Sometimes the developers now have this new scalable database that they want to use. Okay, all of a sudden, and they actually do it as part of their design, put it in production. All of a sudden, you have a new service that you as a security person maybe didn't approve. So you need to have visibility to understand what is running across all of your environment. After you have visibility and you see all of the assets, all of the relevant across all of your different cloud environment, and etc., then basically you need also to have the prioritization. So, for example, as we mentioned, the different risks, so different signals, the misconfiguration, the vulnerabilities, the secrets, the exposure, everything, you need to have all of their prioritization. And that's what we are doing here at Wiz, by the way. Okay, we fetch all the data to see the visibility, and then we correlate everything into a security graph and tell you if you have a publicly exposed container runs on an EC2 instance for that manner, and it is exposed, it has a 0-day vulnerability, it contains a secret, you can actually then lateral move to other cloud environment and connect to a crown jewel assets over there. So the prioritization is very important. You have so many different signals, so many different problems where you need to start first. And the third challenge is basically collaboration, because sometimes you need to have a collaborations between your DevSecOps, IRC, incident response teams, SOC teams, even in the developers. So when you find a problem, okay, and now you want your developer to be engaged, you need to have one single tool that everyone can see what the problem is and to be engaged. And what we're trying to do, by the way, over here, basically because we have the Wiz graph, we give you visualization. So when the security team find a problem, with critical issue that the customer need to fix or the developer needs to fix, the developer also have a view. They understand what is the risk and what is the business impact. So they automatically being engaged. The collaboration is extremely important if you want all the team to work together, especially if you have a risk that you need to patch as soon as possible.
So visibility, prioritization, and collaboration are critical. I think we're starting to really see how this can unfold. And I think some of this we're reiterating because of the value and importance. When I think about the collaboration piece, right? We need those teams to work together during a response. So it's all extremely important. All right, so let's now transition to cloud resilience. Why is it so important for cloud teams to have a resiliency plan, Oron?
First of all, I'm a big believer in resiliency plan. I work in the disaster recovery business for almost 5 years. I see so many different, disaster out there. Any company out there need to have a resiliency plan. Why? Sometimes it's you need to protect against. It can be cyber attacked, human error. Even like a person that has high permissions accidentally can delete something in production, can cause your business. It can impact your business outcomes, right, and your business continuity. So resiliency plan is a must if you want to ensure your business continuity. And also, there's like a connection in the resiliency between sometimes the IT team and the DevOps team that build a resiliency plan, and sometimes it can be the SOC team and incident response team that identify that something is happening in your environment and they need to execute their resiliency plan. Okay.
Yeah, that how is so critical. So if I think back to just some of the enterprises I've worked in the past, we would start with a foundational plan around, what's my tier 1 application? Who do I need to have all hands on deck when we're doing our testing? And I think testing is critical. I want to reiterate that. You need to put together the plan and do testing, and bring all of those teams together. So the how and laying that out in a playbook is really what's going to give your enterprise the best outcome when it comes to cloud resilience, regardless of what the impact is. And Oron, you had some really great examples there. I think this also ties into the other thing I think that's really important is the security risk assessment. You've mentioned the visibility. We've talked about this maybe even a couple times, but I think it's so important for people to really step back and think, well, how does even the security risk assessment and that action plan put together play into resiliency and how you're going to get back online? I think that your frequency, for example, of the security risk assessment is so critical. And Oron, you mentioned 30 minutes. That's going to stay with me ongoing. I think 30 minutes a day.
30 minutes a day to patch something. Exactly.
Yeah, it's just good hygiene and practice to just make sure that risks are under control. All right, so Oron, thank you. You've shared so many great things today. What are just some key takeaways that you could share with the audience today as they go back to their work and their jobs and try to apply some of these things?
So I think you have to think about like the different persona working together in the organization. So back then when Wiz and Cohesity start to tech together and see how we can solve mutual customer problems, it's all about the persona working together, right? And this is also how we build the integration. So Wiz, from that, for the first perspective, is identify your cloud risks, the most critical VMs out there you have in your environment that you need to fix. And then Cohesity is the company that talk with the persona that builds the resiliency plan. And using our visibility, they actually also pull data from us and tell, okay, this is all the VMs we sees in the customer environment, and those are the most critical assets out there. And for each one of them, do you have a resiliency plan? Yes or no? So you also can build your resiliency plan based on your most critical assets that contribute to your business continuity. Okay. And I think it's also showcased how the different persona of the organization are working. Because remember, if you need to activate your resiliency plan, you need all of your team to work together, the teams that identified that there is a problem right now, or you've been compromised, or you don't have resiliency plan for those critical assets, to the team that actually needs to build the resiliency plan and execute the resiliency plan if you get compromised. So I think collaboration between the teams, in order to get the security by design, it's one of the most important things that people needs to care about, and that's what we're trying to do with our partnership between Wiz and Cohesity.
Those are some great takeaways. And then I just have a couple that I wanted to share with the audience as well today. So the business level testing. So taking everything that Oron shared and making sure that you're doing your testing on that plan is going to ensure success during a real event. And then also tied to that, make sure during that testing, you come back with your RPOs and RTOs, know what those recovery points are and recovery times to make sure, again, during that live event of cyber attack or otherwise, that you're getting exactly what you expect to get that business back online. So, Oron, thank you so much for joining me today. Appreciate everything you shared. Yep.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And that wraps up another episode of Spotlight on Security Tech Insights. Thank you, everyone.